great books. I've mentioned Origin of the Species. The greatest book has to be the Bible, doesn't it?
Best selling.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's actually not
Lots of
included in the
contributors.
top 10 list because it's always number one, and so they think that it would detract, so they don't include it in the top 10 list.
It'd be rubbish if you were number 10 in the top 10 list and all the others were pointing, saying, he's only here because the Bible's not there.
It's quite unfair. Imagine if Robbie Williams was number one in the record chart and they just went, we'll just take that as read. Take him out.
That's right. And it's like, this week it's...
It's interesting how
Lily
it's the
Allen,
Bible and not any other particular religious book, though.
Well, I think it's because the Bible's the oldest, because Islam's only been around since the 1400s.
So they haven't expanded as well.
The Jewish religion's very ancient, but it's a very small community compared to all the other religions. And
it's written in Hebrew.
Yes, but there's translations for modern people. And obviously you've got the Sikh books and things like that, but that's a new religion. And anyway, thinking of the Bible, we've mentioned sort of, some people believe in that literally God created the world in 7 days or 6 days and rested on the seventh or whatever it was. And we've obviously moved on from the days when people actually believed that in the majority of cases. Angela obviously goes with that, and some people do believe creationism, so this is not to pick on anyone. Are there any other Bible stories that perhaps are a little bit questionable that you believe? If I just fire some at you, can you give me your sort of gut reaction?
Alright, okay.
Loaves and fishes. Give us a bit of background
Which one,
first.
the 4,000 or the 5,000? There were two.
What? And both
Are
the
we on
loaves
about
and
the
fishes?
feeding of the...
Well, two fish and 5 loaves. What's that?
Oh, okay, yeah, and they fed a massive crowd and everything. Yeah. I reckon there was probably more than that. It's a little bit
More
far-fetched.
food?
More food or less
people? Because I'm thinking less people. Because
Yeah.
who was counting?
It's like, when they give the ages of people in the Bible, I'm always a little bit sceptical because you know how they change the calendar to bring in extra months and things like that. So I always think, well, is that a year in our terms or a year when it only used to be 6 months long? Do you know what I mean? In which case the ages seem quite reasonable. If you're gonna go.
I think, can I just pull something out of my own limited knowledge, is where it says Moses lived to 120.
Yeah.
I spoke to someone and I was commenting on the person who read in church and on their accent because he went 120. Right? Now, she didn't pick up on that, and she said, yeah, but that was perfectly feasible in those days because there was less pollution and people lived longer. I didn't pursue it, to be honest. Please tell me that that's a weird thing to say. 120 120 years old, no medicine, or very limited medicine.
But they just put it down to there's less pollution.
And who was
Less
counting?
traffic.
Was there someone who was older than him saying, oh, I remember when you were a little lad?
I mean, did they bring in, when did birthday cakes get introduced?
Where's that come from?
Well, because you have
Right,
that's
so
how you know
we're
how
in-
old
we're
you
in-
are,
we're
you
in-
know. I mean,
No, it's not. It's because people know when you were born and have been fucking counting. What do you mean birthday cakes? We're 2,000 years ago in the Middle East, in poverty,
Yeah.
oppressed by the Romans.
He's just
Right.
pointed out that they didn't have enough bread and fish to go round, so birthday cakes weren't really a big
When
issue.
do you think? This is ridiculous. What? Answer the question.
It's just 'cause
Do you
you know,
think
like,
it's possible to
Christmas trees
feed
are quite
5,000 people with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread?
It depends how big your fish and
Well,
loaves
yeah,
of bread.
right.
I mean, if it's a shark,
Right.
I would
But
say
Kev,
probably.
I mean, I don't know what you know about this story. I know you're not a religious man,
I
but
don't know a lot. I
mean-
remember bits and pieces from school.
because that wasn't the most amazing bit of that story. You'd be surprised to know.
What was the most amazing
I'll
bit?
tell you. After they'd eaten, right, they collected up more bits of bread and fish
Oh,
than
yeah.
they had to begin with. Am I right? Is that what it says in the book? Yeah.
They do collect
Thoughts?
up bits afterwards.
Yeah. Well, they probably did more
Together,
than-
was it like a fishy, horrible
Well, no.
pulp?
They put it in baskets, and they said, "Hold on, we haven't got enough baskets to hold all of the scraps that have been left."
I just
But
think
hold on, we only started with 2 fish and 5 loaves. 5,000 people have had something to eat. Explanation?
I think it's a bit. I think other people would have taken stuff with them, right? Because.
So there was more than food even than that.
It's a bit like if you go in somewhere, let's say to see someone, right? So let's say you go into Glastonbury or something, right? You don't turn up, right? Well, they have burger vans and stuff, but let's pretend that they didn't, right?
2000.
This better be good, because I'm really struggling to follow you. If this isn't good, we are never doing this again.
Then you would take food with you. If you knew you were going somewhere and there wasn't going to be any food, the middle of the desert or wherever, on the beach, yeah, right? You take food, you take a picnic.
Go on.
So
I refuse.
I don't think that they went round at 5,000 people and only 5 of them had thought when they left that morning, oh, must take something to eat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. My point is this. How could 5,000 people, even if a few had brought some of their own stuff, if that was your point, even if it was 3,000 people, and they collected more in the end than the baskets they had to be, they could have only had 7 baskets to start with, right? They collected more scraps and leftovers than they could carry in the baskets, right? And you're telling me that you're actually trying to... It didn't happen, it was just a crowd of people and they didn't have much food. That's the story. That's got to be the story. They wouldn't have had the word 5,000 in those days. Another great book, changing tack a little bit, would be works of Shakespeare. And sort of combining what we've talked about tonight in one succinct example. That actually, me and Kev are both fans of Ricky Gervais. We think his work's great, and he uses the example to illustrate infinity and numbers, and you'll enjoy this because you're an accountant. We'll combine great books, we'll combine Angela's Brain and animals that we've discussed, and Kev can sort of give this example to illustrate the nature of infinity.
Right, what it is, imagine an infinite amount of monkeys and an infinite amount of typewriters.
Right.
Eventually, they would have typed the complete works of Shakespeare. What do you think of that?
Yeah, because sooner or later they get it in the right order.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's actually given me something to sort of feel a bit more positive about, because
I have got this image of lots of monkeys on typewriters now.
Yeah, well, they would.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
fine.
That's fine. That's fine.
With the little ties around them.
Why would they have ties?
They're working on typewriters, aren't they?
What do you mean? Everyone that works on typewriters wears a tie.
Gwen, you
Well,
got
I'm
when you
not
go to
being
the
funny.
office.
How many people
Who
do you know
uses a
that still
typewriter
work on
today in an office
typewriters?
now?
Yeah, but this was an infinite amount of time ago.
I'm not being funny. How many monkeys
They
do you
wouldn't
know
have had
that
ties.
use typewriters?
Well, it's a hypothetical situation,
Right.
but they wouldn't have said, "Hold on, I'm not doing that."
Well,
Why?
in my
I haven't got my tie.
in my hypothetical situation, they've all got little ties on.
That's
Not like
fancy.
dicky bows, like
A necktie.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Why would monkeys wear a necktie as opposed to
Can I just say,
a
in
bow
my
tie?
brain, they've got a tie and they've got a collar but no shirt. Just a collar.
Like a sort of monkey waiter.
Do you know what?
Yes.
I kind of
But
have
why?
that too.
But
Yeah.
why would they? I don't understand why they would opt for a necktie and decline a bow tie. What?
Well, I mean, okay, let's take an example, right? If you're at work,
Are you thinking of like an organ
at
grinder's
work,
monkey
no,
from a
at
sideshow?
work, at work, people
Right,
come in
if
and
you
they
say
work
there's a
and
monkey
they
at
have,
work, I'll kill you.
they have neckties, right? If someone
Well,
came into our
some
office,
people wear bow ties.
if someone came into the office to work in a bow tie, you'd think they were a bit weird, wouldn't you?
But I know people that
Eccentric,
wear bow
maybe.
ties at
Yeah.
work, and they are a bit eccentric, but that used to be fine. It's just a different type of tie.
But now it's like people wear bow ties when they're going out for a special occasion.
Because they're dressed formally,
Yeah,
like
it's-
people
it's-
used to
it's
dress
dressing
normally,
up, yeah.
but they're there today.
Yeah.
So if
You don't wear a ball gown to the
if
office,
a
do
monkey
you?
was wearing a bow tie, I would expect him to be
If he
going.
was wearing any clothes, if he was in an office, that would be surprising. You wouldn't think, oh, monkey in an
No,
office,
but
fine.
if
Hold
he had
on,
a
that one's
face-
wearing a bow tie.
That
Get
is
it out
me.
of here.
Get him out.
It would, why would the tie be the thing that
That's
you
not
would
the
look at.
that's
I
not the
think
weird
Christ
factor
is a
in all of
monkey in the
this.
office.
Yeah.
What? I don't understand that.